Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I'm your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. So, as always, thank you so much to each and every one of you for tuning in, liking, sharing, commenting, watching again. I just truly thank you so much. First, I want to do a quick moment of thanks. A previous guest reached out to me today and said, "Do you know a chosen friend?" Their name. I said, "I sure do." She said, "From the episode that I was on, they reached out to me and they wanted to support my business. They sent me a thank you card. It was so nice. And they also sent them a nice little seed with some little change. And I thought that was so amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of my chosen friends for being the amazing people, friends that you are. That just blew my mind. As always, we do have some tickets available, so be sure to listen out for the keyword of the day. So, we are in a new month, and our theme is the more you know. And growing up, there was the more you know, the more you know. I don't remember how it goes. Y'all know it if y'all are a couple of years older than me, or around the same age, 21 plus some. But it was a commercial that would come on, and they always had a strong message behind it. So this month, we are going to learn some lessons. We're going to chat with a veterinarian because I know some of us have pets. We brought them into our homes. We fed them, bathed them, maybe cleaned up after them. But we have a vet for a reason. So that means that our pets need a little bit more than just the basics. So tonight we have Dr. Catrina King for Ask a Vet. We're then going to have Dr. Charles Farmer to talk about Your Health Matters. So excited to have a male doctor. Sometimes it's hard to get males, but we're working it out. We had some last month too. You're right, chosen friends. Then we're going to have Dr. Derek Coles as we're going to talk about that C word, COVID-19. Although we are a year in, but it's still some things going on. We want to know and educate ourselves. So she's going to share, and then we're going to close out with Nurse Crystal Creamer, who will share about home health care. And I worked in a nursing home program through school. And it was the worst experience ever. Well, maybe not the worst, but I wasn't a fan of it. And young Jennifer wanted to challenge why the residents couldn't live their best life. I mean, they already living here, not in their houses, but she's going to tell us about some options as it relates to home health care. But pets, I can't tell you how many cats have blessed 103, my childhood home. Fish that tried to be counted in the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. They didn't make it. I was blessed to have one dog, the late Fifi. I say I did hospice for this gym. Let me show you. This is my Fifi, and that's my Cleo. As you can see, Cleo is living her best life all the time. I truly understand that broke best friend because that girl, she just lounges around and things of that sort. I'm like, can you help me do something? Nevertheless, I want to talk about some pets today, and I want to help educate us on how we can better take care of our pets. So special shout out to Charmaine, who introduced me to our guest on tonight. We're going to again learn how to extend the baby's lives, how to care for them, and more. So tonight we have Dr. Catrina King. It's going to be good. So please, chosen friends, get into it, get into it, get into it. Here we go with Dr. Catrina King. Woo! Good evening. Hello, how are you? How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Over here at Jen Cares, we start off with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, "Animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions. They pass no criticisms." George Eliot. Again, animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions. They pass no criticisms. What's your thoughts on that, Dr. King?
Well, as soon as you started talking, my Sir Charles came up here. So
No
you guys, I
question.
apologize if you hear him in the background.
They
I
may
think he
hear
might be
Cleo too.
yeah, he might be asking some questions and passing a little judgment on me right now. No, I'm kidding. But I totally agree with that statement. I think that animals are some of the best friends that we can ever have. And there are multiple studies that prove that people have longer, healthier lives when they have animals in them. So if they're important contributors to our family and important contributors to our physical and mental health,
Yeah.
So it's very important that we take good care of them.
Agreed, definitely. When I had Fifi, I said I did hospice because I took her in, but she had some health ailments and things of that sort. I had to put her down. But when I had her, you had to go out to go walking. You went for a nice little walk because they weren't ready to come in after just walking 2 steps. Things of that sort. So it helps you to really enjoy some sunshine, some vitamin D and things. So it's really nice. And they don't ask no questions. You can just tell them whatever. They don't tell you secrets. At least I hope they don't tell our secrets. I don't know.
No, they never tell you secrets. I have a full-on conversation with my two boys when I come home every day. I have two, Sylvester and Sir Charles, and they've never shared a single one of my most intimate secrets.
Yes, gotta love them. Gotta love them. I definitely do. When I come out, I say, Cleo, did you miss me? They like, who you talking to? Cleo. She know I'm here now. She's about to make her presence known. But cool.
Right. Yes, my friends always laugh because they respond. My cats respond. So I'm like, hey, how was your day?
They do. Now we may not always understand them, but they definitely understand us when we telling them to stop doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
but that's so great to have. So, as always, chosen friends, I've prepared some questions to guide tonight's topic. But if you have any questions, comments, be sure to comment below and we'll be sure to answer them. So, Dr. King, tell us about yourself. I try to let the chosen friends know I have somebody that really knows what they're talking about. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Philadelphia. I went to W.B. High School, which is agricultural high school. I always knew I wanted to be a veterinarian. I knew I wanted to be a vet since I was like 2 years old.
Wow.
I graduated from Saw, went on to Penn State University, where I fell for research as a second love. And I was torn a bit, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I ended up in a combined degree program where I did both a doctorate in veterinary medicine as well as a PhD in cell and molecular biology. And then got to the end of my PhD program and realized that, spending my life as a scientist wasn't really what was best for me. And so I decided to further pursue a specialty in veterinary medicine. And I have lately started my own business, which is a mobile veterinary services. So that's Royal Veterinary Services.
Yeah.
And I have experience working with dogs, cats, rabbits, hamsters, gerbils, fish, birds, you name it. I see everything. And so, and I try to keep in mind with all of my past experiences, I never forget how important the people are in the whole process. And so my mantra has always been people, animals, everything else. Those are the things that are important. Those are the things that I focus on. And those are the things that I hope that I will help in my career.
So you mentioned a lot of animals, and I was on board with you. Then you said fish. I was surprised to hear fish, even though I know fish would be in the list. What kind of help do you do for the fish?
Well, actually, so I work in the research environment as well still, and fish are becoming a much more common research subject because of the fact that, we're moving more and more away from mammalian species, right? And so people are doing more work with fish and trying to understand things about how they interact with each other. For example, their nervous system works in a lot of similar ways to ours. They develop cancer like we do. And so very, very useful models. And the thing about them is they lay eggs. And because they lay those eggs, that gives us very easy access to a DNA source. And so we can understand things without necessarily disrupting the animals in their otherwise, stable environment. And so fish are a really good tool for that. And so I do a lot of zebrafish work.
Interesting. See, I'm learning something already. Sherry is saying hello. Let me get to our comments. We have Dr. Cindy. She said, yes, I'm a SAW alumni. All right.
Hi, Cindy.
Mama Jackson said, hi, Jen. I don't have pets, but I will share. Thanks, Mama Jackson. Mama Wanda. Yes, we got to let the people know how to take care of these pets. We're going to find out today. So fish, we can find out that they're being researched to help us with some different things. So I remembered in school, dissecting a frog. I was not really about that life. I had another person that would like cut it and do all those different things, and then I could tell the people where the things were, but I just couldn't do it. So, how did you feel like doing that process of the research or checking out things? Like, is that really like just it's something that you love, obviously, because you're doing it? But what was your experience like? Did you get nauseated in the beginning, or was it just always that smooth love that was perfect?
So I apologize if anybody's eating right now. I might
Mhm.
discuss them. The first couple weeks of anatomy class in vet school, you're
Mhm.
kind of like, ew.
Mhm.
But by week 3, you're hungry.
Okay.
Seriously. Well, you're sitting there doing your dissection, and it was before lunch, and
Mhm.
most of my classmates were hungry. It just kind of it becomes something that you're very used to. When I
Okay.
was in high school and we did the frog dissection or the fish dissection in
Mhm.
biology class,
Mhm.
I actually was really interested in it, and I think that was because I really wanted to understand how the body worked.
Okay.
And so that's one of the ways that I knew that science was a good career choice for me.
Mhm. Yeah, that was not for me. So I thank you for your service. Anybody that's in that medical field or whatever, pets, people, whatever, thank you. That's not me. Because we need that. It's needed. That's why they created it. So, okay, so you're working with pets. You say you're doing like a mobile service too now?
Yeah, I do have a mobile service.
Mhm.
We started seeing patients actually in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
We see mostly dogs and cats.
Mm-hmm.
Some very large dogs, some very small cats,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a basic service. We don't we you know One of the things that has become very inconvenient about veterinary medicine, especially during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, a lot of vet offices closed their doors, so people are really not allowed to
Mm-hmm.
come in with their pets when they're getting serviced, and so it gets frustrating, especially for clients to sit outside, and it's inconvenient. And then what about clients who don't have cars or can't travel? For example, we have a lot of elderly people with pets. What are they supposed to do in the pandemic? And so the service is great because we bring the vet right to the front door, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's our motto: is we bring the vet to the pet, and so that brings a level of convenience. In veterinary medicine, one of the most important things about veterinary medicine's delivery is that it's done in a manner that is convenient for the client. Because some of you probably can relate to this, but it's not helpful if you have to give your dog medication once every 4 hours because you got a life, right? So at 6 a.m. you might be getting out the bed and brushing your teeth, and at 10 a.m. you're at work, and at 2 p.m. you're still working, and then at 6 p.m. you got something else. So we have to figure out as veterinarians how to medicate patients, how to develop treatment plans that are actually working for our
Mm-hmm.
clients as well. And so that's one of the great things about the mobile services, because a lot of my clients, they're actually like teleworking, and I'm, outside helping, with their pets, doing whatever it is that they need to do to ensure their health and well-being. And at the same time, the client really isn't losing a whole lot of time. So it's a
That's
win-win.
That's good. That's it. It's funny as you were talking and saying like the hours. I was like, I would have been like and you was on it. That's how you know she's a doctor. She knows those 4 hour increments. I was lost for a second. It's the end of the day and it's Monday. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool to be able to go to where they are to be bringing it back to the pets. Definitely a needed service, and sounds like it has definitely been blossoming and blooming. So that's really cool. So if
Thank
I
you.
wanted to get a pet, what are some things that I should consider? Like, how would I know if it's best for me to get a? How should I consider which pet to get?
Yeah, so actually, I have a few videos on my YouTube channel where I discuss this very topic, because
Oh,
it actually is a very important consideration for
oh,
someone who's thinking about getting a pet. Not a whole lot of people think about that before they jump into getting a pet. And
mm-hmm,
it's a huge consideration. Do you want a big dog or do you want a little dog? If you're going to get a big dog, you should think about the fact that it eats a lot, right?
mm-hmm.
And so it's going to cost more money.
Oh,
I have prescribed rounds of antibiotics for very large dogs that will cost in the neighborhood of $350 to $400. So you
mm,
should take that into consideration when you're getting the dog, because dogs get sick. Puppies do crazy things. They run into walls and, eat things that they're not supposed to. They get bumps and bruises and they need treatment. And if you've got a big dog, medication is priced by dose, which is according to weight, right? And so if you've got a big dog, you're going to be paying more for medications. You're also going to be paying more to feed it. If you got a small dog, on the other hand, small dogs tend to not be so great about holding their bladder and they need to go out more frequently. And that's something you need to think about, right? It's a greater change for your lifestyle. If your dog has to go to the bathroom once every 4 hours, which is very common for a new puppy, a very small new puppy, then you're back to that 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m.
I'm going to know that by the end of the show, 6 a.m., 10 a.m.
Yeah, so you're back on that schedule we talked about. And then I actually love cats. I love cats a ton. I think that they're really great companions and they tend to be very self-sufficient. But they have their own considerations as well. You need to think about their preferences when you get them in your home. Cats can, because of their need to sharpen their claws, that can be really destructive. And also, for the most part, they will use a litter box. But if their litter box isn't up to what they consider their standards, they won't use it. And so if you don't understand that when you go into, caring for your cat, it can bring a few headaches along.
Got it. Definitely have to have patience. So if I can't do those things, a fish is for me, is what I'm hearing?
Oh, no, I didn't say that. I just said that we got to think about it. I mean, fish also make great pets, but I think that, it's just a very different thing. They're not as interactive as a cat or a dog.
Right.
My cats, they run downstairs. Well, one does. The other one he's the king of the house, so he just does whatever he wants to do. But, they greet me when I come in the door. And I feel like that sort of thing is important for your mental health and your well-being.
Absolutely.
And, fish don't really interact with people the same way dogs and cats do. So.
Yes. I can say, like I said, I had taken in a dog and I already had Cleo. Cleo was really antisocial though. When I got her, they told me she came from a house with other animals and things. I'm not sure what her whole story was, but she kind of is really shy. People come over, she hides and things. So I let her do her, and we're going on with life. But when I had the dog wants a little bit more attention. The dog was a smaller dog, wants to go to the bathroom, wants to play outside, and do those things. And it's good, but again, knowing like what your time and what your schedule looks like to know if this really fits your schedule, because that dog doesn't want to stay in the house all day. And you don't want to just put the dog in the backyard all the time. You want them to see the world a little bit.
That's exactly right. Dogs can be crate trained, especially small dogs, where they will do well. I'm sorry, did I lose you or no?
No, you're there.
Okay, sorry. They will do well if you put them in a crate for 6 or 8 hours at a time. But if you're a person who travels a lot, you have to think about where you're going to leave your dog when you travel. It's not. Sometimes it could be a little tough to manage your schedule around your pets if you haven't really thought it out how you're going to do it in the future. Now, I mean, if you got a big family. I know my family, people leave pets with one family member all the time. We just had Easter. The dogs had a ball.
Yeah, I love it.
You can tell they missed each other. They're like running around doing zoomies.
My cousin, where you been?
Exactly.
So I have another thing that I learned too with dogs. Cats too, depending on the hair. Hair is another thing too. So we know that cats get fur balls and things like that. But with a dog, some do grow hair, and with that hair, you have to get it cut. So that's a new. If you don't do it yourself, you have to take them to somebody. That's a service that you want to make sure it's taken care of. And
absolutely, and I want to. Something people don't realize is those dogs that need that grooming on a regular basis, like a long-haired Chihuahua, for example. If they don't get groomed, it can actually turn into a health problem for them. They can actually get sores. They can actually develop infections. And so if you're getting a long-haired dog, you're absolutely right. You've got to keep up with that grooming, which means you need to keep up with their vaccinations because the groomer is going to require those vaccinations. So that's definitely something to think about when you're getting a long-haired dog.
Absolutely.
Or cat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you talked about like a big dog will eat a little bit more. Small dog, not as much. Medicine is a bigger thing because it's based on weight. So if I find that my animal is not eating, should I reach out and call the vet? Call you?
So two things. So a lot of times people will say, "Oh, my dog's not eating," and I go, "Well, how long? Well, when was his last meal?" Well, he ate breakfast this morning. So if he's eating breakfast, then that's not eating.
Okay.
If I think a lot of times too, pet parents will be a little overly concerned if a pet's not interested in a meal the moment that they put it forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's common for pets to not be interested in meals right away. As a matter of fact, for the most part in America, we don't suffer from a lack of nutrient resources. And so, just like people sometimes aren't interested in the plate that you put in front of them, pets aren't always interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that said, um, it, I want people to trust their guts because I find that clients are usually correct about their gut feeling about how their pet feels. There is a bond there between humans and animals, and
Yes.
we are, able to feel their emotions a lot of times. And so, if
Mm-hmm.
you feel that something is wrong, definitely you want to contact the veterinarian. If it's been a day and a pet hasn't eaten anything, that's unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And for cats, especially, if they haven't eaten for 16 hours, 24 hours, it can actually very quickly cause them to decompensate. And they
Oh.
can end up with a very severe problem known as hepatic lipidosis. So, which basically can and land them in the hospital requiring IV fluids and medication for treatment. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely don't want to ignore it if you see that your cat is not doing well and you see that your cat is not particularly interested in food.
Got it. Yes, definitely. And changing the food sometimes can cause a different response too. You'll be like,
It
"You're not
can.
eating." It was like, "No, that cat was used to wet food, and now you gave them this dry food. They are living a bougie life, and that's where they want to stay."
I
So
see so many people who think that their pet's not eating, and then you ask them when did they last offer them food, and they're like, "Well, I made yesterday. I made him a filet mignon, and the day before that he had lobster, and the day before that he had shrimp, and this morning I offer him some kibbles and bits." And I'm like,
I wouldn't want to leave. I'm with the cat. Like you just showed me the
exactly.
finer things in life. We gotta stay there.
Exactly. So it is best to be consistent with your diet for your pet. Because actually, with dogs, if you're not consistent, you can actually cause them to develop pancreatitis, right? And
Mm.
pancreatitis will manifest as vomiting and diarrhea. Um, and if it sometimes it can be really severe. And it's one of those conditions that requires hundreds of dollars to treat, right? And so if you're switching your dog's food all the time,
Mm.
and you're not really paying attention to what exactly they're eating, it can cause them to develop that condition. It also can cause allergies to worsen. Dogs, especially certain breeds, they're
Mm.
notorious for developing food allergies. And
Mm.
so, if you're switching their foods all the time, that can also encourage the development of food allergies. So, it's best to be consistent.
Got it. Okay. So Dr. Cindy said, "Are there any treatments for cats with epilepsy?"
So, epilepsy itself is more a term for a chronic condition. Generally, a cat that is having multiple seizures, I'd be concerned about a variety of conditions other than just epilepsy. With cats, especially, I'd be concerned about liver disease because they develop that quite commonly. Cats are also notorious for developing chronic kidney disease, and that could
Mm.
possibly cause a cat to be suffering from multiple seizures. There are many things that could be causing a cat to have multiple seizures. And so, if that's happening with your cat, you definitely want to have some blood work, done with a licensed veterinarian at a minimum, so that they can see what's going on with the function of the liver and kidneys and determine if that's what's causing the seizure activity. If it's just a neurologic, seizure condition, yes, there are treatments for that.
Mm.
Cats are treated with phenobarbital for seizure conditions, just like humans.
Mm. Oh, Learning a lot. Learning a lot. Cats have epilepsy. They can have cancer and other things too, I'm told, you know?
Yes, indeed. So in cats there are several like very common chronic conditions that they'll develop, especially if they're a little bit fluffier, overweight. And
Mm-mm.
so diabetes is very common in cats. Kidney disease is very common in cats. Hyperthyroidism is very common in cats, especially older cats. Older meaning more than 12 years old.
Mm. Uh, so I have a question for dogs. So with Fifi, the challenge with Fifi, she didn't get spaded, so she ended up getting a hernia. Well, that's what they said. The hernia came because she wasn't spaded, so they were going to do blood work and then remove the hernia and then spade her and hoping it'll be good. But because she was so old, 17, 18 years old, kind of like nervous to invest at that moment and things of that sort. So can we talk about the importance of the shots that an animal should get when they're first born and things of that sort? How important is that? It's like immunization for kids, right? It's important.
Yes, exactly. It's extremely important, and you never want to dismiss that first round of puppy and kitten shots. And the important thing to also realize is that it's multiple shots, right?
Mhm.
And so puppies and kittens need to go to the doctor many times in the early weeks of life. And that's because not only do they need to get vaccinated, but the vaccines need to get boosted, right? If they're not vaccinated, they can develop some really severe debilitating diseases that can't otherwise be, you know, cured or prevented. And so one of the great tragedies that we see in veterinary medicine is that someone will get a dog, they'll get a puppy or a kitten, they fall in love, their puppy or kitten is 12 weeks old, and all of a sudden they develop one of these diseases that was easily preventable with vaccination. And, even after spending thousands of dollars, there sometimes isn't anything left for us to do, but
Wow.
unfortunately euthanize. So it is very important to get your puppies and kittens vaccinated. In addition, there's a rabies vaccination that's required for all dogs and cats, and that's required by law. In Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, everywhere I've ever practiced requires a rabies vaccine. And so if you have a pet, you're responsible for making sure that they stay up to date with their rabies vaccine. And that's really rabies. Cats and dogs are vaccinated against rabies really as a means of protecting human beings. So it's not that we think your dog or cat is going to really get rabies, but we need to make sure that we're guarding the human population from getting rabies. So that's why the law requires it.
Good to know. Good to know. Please make sure you get your rabies shots. My Cleo is up to date. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we talked about a cat needing medicine. Could be allergies, could be trouble and things of that sort, or any pet needing medicine. Can an animal get dehydrated? And if so, how can you fix that? Does that happen?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, this is kind of turned into a commercial for cats, right? But I do love them. Please, please, please. The best piece of advice I can give you if you have a cat is get them a water fountain. You can go on Amazon, they have them for $20. Get them a water fountain. If you have a small dog, same thing, get them a water fountain. The reason is because um, your life is busy, you've got a lot going on, and you don't necessarily always remember to refill the water bowl.
Mhm.
And cats, especially, can be really finicky about old, stale water. As a matter of fact, my sister's cat likes to drink fresh water right out of the refrigerator. Like if you didn't get it off of the side of the refrigerator,
Hmm.
like she's not interested, right? And so for cats, like I said, you can go ahead and get them a water fountain. They're really cheap on Amazon.
Mhm.
But the reason why it's important to help them stay hydrated is because if they don't stay hydrated throughout life, they're going to be more at risk for developing chronic kidney disease in the future.
Mhm.
And so chronic kidney disease is very common in older cats, and you can kind of help ward it off or prevent it by getting your cat a water fountain early in life.
Got it. So I need to go buy me a water machine. I mean, water fountain
Yeah,
for Cleo
yeah,
to help her to stay hydrated. Got it. Oh,
yeah. And actually, so my water fountain starts to make weird noises when it's time to get refilled, and so I,
mhm.
I remember to put water in it, and that way the cats are never without a fresh supply of clean water. So,
Awesome.
and they love it.
Hmm. Gonna look into it. So let's talk about pets needing exercise. Do they need exercise, or are they okay with just lounging?
Yeah, they need exercise. And unfortunately, we all gained a couple pounds in the pandemic. Me and my two boys. Yes,
Yeah.
we all need exercise. It's just as important for them as it is
Mhm.
for us. And, I talked a little bit earlier about how pets actually help us with our physical and mental health.
Mhm.
One of the ways that pets can help you is just getting outside to get some exercise, like you mentioned. Just going around the block a couple of times. They need that just as much as we need that. They need to get outside and see the sunshine. They need to move their muscles and their joints around. They develop arthritis just
Mhm.
like we can. They can develop diabetes just like we can. And so, exercise is extremely important for pets. But even more important, I think, than the exercise is making sure that they have a good diet.
Okay. Awesome. 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 Okay. Um. So we also talk about dentists. Teeth. That is that important for the animals? Do they can they get like bad things going on? They need. I'm not sure that they need dentures, but what are some things to be mindful of as it relates to their teeth and
Well,
gums?
I'm so glad you asked that question because actually, I think that even people sometimes don't realize how important our teeth are to our overall health. So,
Mm-hmm.
your teeth, it can actually get really decayed to the point that um, it can cause a infection in your heart. And so the same thing is true for cats and dogs. And that's one of the reasons that we need to go in and get regular teeth cleanings, right? And so we're supposed to go to the dentist once a year. I know I was slacking in the pandemic, but I'm going back. Dogs and cats should be going in similarly once a year to get their teeth cleaned. But
Mm-hmm.
the big thing that's different between dogs and cats and humans when it comes to their teeth cleaning is that we unfortunately can't tell Fluffy to just sit still and say ah, right? So we have to anesthetize Fluffy for the teeth cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that requires anesthesia.
Okay.
And I do realize that that can be a bit of a financial burden for people. And so I would say that, you just get it done as frequently as you can. If you can do it every year, great. But it will definitely help to prolong the life of your pet if you get their teeth cleaned with some regular frequency. Um,
Okay.
the older they get, the more important it becomes. And so, and the other thing that becomes more important as they get older is that they get a full oral exam. Really, as veterinarians, we're not able to get in there and see what's going on in the mouth unless we put them under anesthesia and get an opportunity to do that full oral exam and dental x rays. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's important that you make sure that you keep up with your pet's dentals,
Mm-hmm.
especially as they get older.
Good to know. Good to know. So let's talk about. So we talked about getting animals. So you decided which one you want to get. You got this animal, and now you find out different things are going on. They got the shots, and you're doing stuff you're supposed to be doing. But let's say for a dog, they are everything hasn't dropped. Their jewels haven't dropped, and things of that sort. So then, is that a procedure for that, or will it eventually happen?
Ooh. Um, there's two parts to that.
Okay.
When they're very young, their testicles, puppies and kittens, normally descend,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so at the age of 6 to 8 weeks, if you don't feel any testicles there, that's not necessarily a concern because they may not have descended fully yet.
Okay.
On the other hand, once they get to be 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks, their testicles should have fully descended. In some cases, they don't. And that
Mm-hmm.
results in a condition known as cryptorchidism. And if we don't do something about that, that testicle that remains in the abdomen can actually become cancerous. And so, yeah, if you take your puppy or kitten to the veterinarian and they're not able to feel both testicles descended, um, the older that they are, that can become a problem that needs to be addressed surgically. It's not the end of the world if a pet needs surgery for that. It's not terribly expensive. It's around the same cost as a spay for a female dog, for example. But it definitely is something that should not be ignored.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I have a friend. They called their dog LB because it was a late bloomer because it didn't happen. But I know somebody else that has a dog too that's going through the same. And they're exploring their options for getting that done as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that too, the options, because it can be expensive to care for your pet because different things are needed and things of that sort. So when you go to the vet, I just want to stress the importance of really asking questions to find out what it is that is being prescribed. Similar to when we go, you're asking questions. I hope we're asking questions to fully understand what the doctor is saying to us. We want to do the same thing for our pets to best know how to support them once we do bring them back home or whatever like the next step is with them. So, just back me up with that importance of.
You have to, as a matter of fact, it is your time when you bring your pet to the veterinarian to
Mm,
ask every question. And please, please, please ask the nurses and ask the veterinary assistants questions. They are actually there to help. So many clients, unfortunately, dismiss the value of the nurses and the vet assistants that I work with every day. And
mhm,
they just want to talk to the veterinarian. And it's like, actually, you could have gotten so much more
mhm,
time and attention and energy from my, vet nurses who are as equally as knowledgeable about this subject as I am, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
so a lot of times the vet nurses can answer questions about, what is normal in terms of the eating pattern, what is normal in terms of flea and tick prevention, what's normal in terms of the frequency of a dental cleaning.
mhm.
They know the answers to these things, and they also know when to direct you to the actual veterinarian. But when you come into your visit, it's important to ask every single question. Think of everything. Ask the vet tech every question. One of the things that makes the visit very efficient and helps you get the most out of it is you asking all of those questions as soon as you can. So once the visit starts, the vet tech comes to pick up your pet to start your appointment. Load them up with all of the questions that you've got. They're going to answer as many as they can, and then they'll leave the ones that they know that it's going to require the veterinarian's assessment to answer them for the veterinarian. But you'll get the most out of the visit if you do that because you'll be maximizing your opportunities.
And again, no question is dumb or stupid or outrageous because it be
Nope.
you like she said, trust your gut because that one question that you ask may save your baby's life.
Exactly. And not only that, when you're paying for the veterinarian's um, assessment, you're paying for their knowledge, you're paying for the brain,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And so that is the opportunity that you want to use to ask questions. What I can't, it actually upsets me when sometimes people don't ask questions and then they go to Google, for example, and they get bad information. And unfortunately, I have seen one too many cases in my career of people who get bad advice online and end up doing more harm to their pets than good,
mhm.
even
Wow.
sometimes going so far as actually resulting in the death of their pet. So you definitely want to watch information that you're getting from non-licensed, uncertified sources.
Got it.
And you are there to develop a relationship with your veterinarian. Call, ask questions.
Mhm,
Don't just keep it to yourself. It's
mhm.
really what we're here for.
And there's so many great resources out there. Like we're going to talk about your YouTube channel as well for the Exhibit, but they also have like websites that you can really ask professional vets. When I was going through with my dog, I reached out, and the doctor even kept on contacting me, like, "What's your next steps? Is what do you want to do?" Really consoled me through the whole process. And it made me feel so much better knowing, one, I had an expert because I don't know. But the expert was definitely checking in to, guide me through the process to help me make the best decision that would, one, not cause further pain, but that would be the best for the situation that Fifi was in.
And you brought up something else that I just wanted to add. Sometimes I think people aren't aware that it's okay to ask the questions to your veterinarian that you might feel are much more personal decisions, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
if it feels like, so sometimes people are afraid to ask me the question, Doc, is my dog suffering? Is it time to euthanize?
Mhm.
But really, the veterinarian's the best person to help guide you through that
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like, be honest with us. Just tell us if you. I'm not judging anyone. If you can't afford to get fluffy surgery, tell me that. And
Mhm.
let's talk about what other options exist. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they can't put their trust in the veterinarian, because if you're not able to communicate with your veterinarian fully
Mhm.
about your wants and your needs and desires, we're not going to be able to help you, which means we're
Mhm.
not going to be able to help our patient, right? And you're
Mhm.
not going to be able to help your furry friend. So,
You gotta
yeah.
ask the questions, and you might get a tough answer too, because like with her, her and that group, I guess was her and her sister, so it was getting bigger. So then she was like, eventually to drain on blood supply because it's continued to grow, but then she started getting dizzy. She couldn't stand up straight. She couldn't walk. So
Yeah.
again, you can see the different changes. So you want to have those conversations of this is of concern, similar for us, and we got to be careful with that Googling thing because even WebMD has killed many people in their head
Oh,
when they thinking, oh, I'm
oh,
about to die.
oh,
It's
yeah.
it's good and it's bad at the same time. So really
Yeah.
talking to the person because the Google can only tell you but so much, but it's other factors involved. So being able to talk to that doctor and really lay out these are all the things that are happening. Oh, this is what's going on. You mean I'm not going to die? You could find that out. So it's really important. Now you may die depending, I don't know, but you at least find out directly from that trained professional that can run whatever tests need to be ran to make sure that you're in the right standing. So
Yeah,
that.
and I mean, I usually encourage people to stay away from Google searches about their pet's health conditions. I try to provide information, but even if you do find information online, ask your vet about that information as well, because I see a lot of people. There are trends that happen in the veterinary community where people will say, "Oh, I heard that if they're having diarrhea, for example, you just give them chicken broth," and you're like, "Where did that come from?" And then I'll do a quick Google search, and I realize that there's some article that's trending that talks about how chicken broth cures diarrhea, and no, that's I don't know that your dog is way past chicken broth.
Chicken broth. I never heard that one for chicken broth. Okay. But let's talk about that too because people do Google and try to like find remedies or natural remedies, home remedies. Some populations are the queens and kings of that. Just get some ginger ale and some crackers. You'll be all right, baby. We can't do that for the dog, or we can't do that for the cat. But we do find different things, or people have found different things. What's I still feel like I should ask the vet though, because I'm nervous to be giving them some castor oil, and castor oil is not going to help them. That's just an example, but like the natural remedies that people try, thinking that this is going to do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that's castor oil is a perfect example, right? Because that's something that our grandparents, for example, would think to do for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they may think like a tablespoon of castor oil will be good for the dog. But what we often don't think about is the fact that, one, dogs and cats are a lot smaller than us. And so, what a tablespoon to them is like 50 times, could be 50 times
Mm-hmm.
what our dosing would be. And
Mm-hmm.
two, that they don't necessarily process drugs the same way that we do. So
Mm-hmm.
the classic example of this, of course, is Tylenol, right? And so people will think, oh, I'll just give the cat a Tylenol because he's kind of off today. Well, one tablet of Tylenol will definitely kill a cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though you can take a Tylenol, even I don't even I'm careful not even to leave them lying around my house because I don't even want my cat to lick it. That's how
Mm-hmm.
toxic I think acetaminophen is to cats, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you definitely want to beware of giving your cats, human or your dogs human home
Mm-hmm.
remedies because
Mm-hmm.
they can be toxic.
Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. Because we don't want them to go sooner than they have to go, because they do bring you joy. And I joke all the time, because Cleo, I can count on one hand how many times I've pet her since she's been in my house, and it's been over 2 years. She's not a sociable cat. However, she will make her presence known. She'll meow me, meow me, meow me, meow me. And I say, yes, Cleo, or I clean her little pail, she'll meow. I say, you're welcome. I'm thinking she's saying thank you. I give her some treats. She meow, you're welcome, things that sort. But she's not about that life, and it's totally okay. But it's a process. It's a process.
Yeah. And Cleo sounds like she's the queen of the castle.
She is. She is. She thinks you're right. She is. She is the queen, just
Yeah.
like your king. You know, I kind of just let her be great. Do what you do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I got her thinking like it'd be therapeutic. You know, I'll get a cat. You know, play around with. She's like, mm-mm.
Is she a girl?
She is.
Yeah, yeah. I think female cats, males for whatever reason, tend to be more vocal and interactive.
Mm-hmm.
I've just noticed that. I mean, female cats, yeah, my mom has a cat, she's a whole diva.
Yeah, and it's funny when I first got her for like the first month or so, she didn't meow at all. It was just quiet. I'm like, well, are you alive? Can you say something? Wink, blink your eye, something, you know? But then when she did start talking, you couldn't shut her up, you know? But
Yeah.
you know, she's just out there being grand. She's the queen diva. So in talking of that, let's talk about cats when they no longer know where their litter pans are. You said that if the litter pan is not to their liking, they may go somewhere else. What would cause another reason for a cat to not go into their litter pan?
Good question. Couple things. One is that it's not cleaned up to their standards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, cats as they get older, they tend to become more finicky. I guess like people. But a cat that used to use a litter box that they had peed and defecated in multiple times, as they get older, they may decide that, you know what, I don't want to go in there anymore. If there's one piece of, fecal matter in there, I'm not going in. I'm done. And so cleaning your litter box more frequently actually may cause them to or help them to return to it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that the texture of the litter. So sometimes cats will become accustomed to the texture of the litter. And if you
Mm-hmm.
change the kind of litter that you're using in the litter box, that can become a problem. If you change the location of the litter box, that can become an issue. If the
Mm-hmm.
litter box is somewhere that's noisy, right? And so I had somebody the other day tell me that their litter box was in the hallway, and she recently had a grandchild, and the grandchild was like running back and forth through the house, and the cat all of a sudden wasn't using the litter box. Well, nobody wants to go to the bathroom in the hallway with the whole world watching, right? And so the cat, and not only that, she's saying the grandchild was yanking the cat by the tail. So I'm sure one time the cat tried to go to the bathroom and
Uh,
right. So these are the things that I think we need to think about if our
mm-hmm.
cat's not using the litter box. But there's another very important thing to note about cats that are not using the litter box, and that is that they can have a urinary tract infection, which requires antibiotics for treatment. And
Okay.
so if they're continuing to urinate outside of the litter box, if the telltale sign is a cat who suddenly starts to urinate just outside of the litter box,
Mm-hmm.
um, they often have a urinary tract infection and needs to be
Got
treated.
it. Good to know. Good to know. Now we know dogs for the most part. You take them outside, but you may have the padding in the home. If they, for some reason, don't quite make it to their pad, what could be going on for them? Similar.
And it could be, but actually, padding sometimes I think can unfortunately confuse dogs because they don't necessarily understand that they're supposed to go to the bathroom on the pad inside of
Mhm.
the house. So that could be one thing, but another thing could just be that it's just a pure miss by accident, right? They
Mhm.
sniffed out a good place to go to the bathroom on the pad, and they turned around, and their butt happened to end up off the pad, and
Right.
they release themselves,
You
right?
gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, that can happen. So
So, in this vein, because if a cat or a dog doesn't go where it's supposed to go, a fur parent can get a little upset. How should
Mhm.
they respond to the animals when they're not doing what they would prefer for them to do? What's that chastisement look like for a pet?
Well, multiple studies show that positive reinforcement works way better than negative reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you take your pet outside to the bathroom and reward them greatly or your dog, sorry, outside to go to the bathroom and
Mm-hmm.
reward them greatly for doing it, that will do a better job of teaching them not to urinate in the house than yelling them or spanking them.
Okay.
Dogs sometimes don't process what it is that they're being chastised about.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's better to ignore the bad behavior and instead try to focus on rewarding the good behavior.
Okay.
I especially want to discourage people from ever thinking that a spanking will help a dog, because
Mm-hmm.
it's well known that it doesn't, right? They don't understand why it's happening. They're not able to process the way that the follow up reward and show of love,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's required for children that have been spanked, right? Dogs are
Mm-hmm.
not able to make that same adjustment. And so they're confused about the spanking. They don't know why it happened, and they don't always understand what they did to deserve it. And so I just want to discourage you guys from
Mm-hmm.
pursuing that as an option. And like
Okay.
I said, think about positive reward for good
Okay.
behavior.
Okay. I've seen some videos sometimes where the dogs have done something that they know they should not have done, and the parent is asking them, like, who did it? And the dog will be like, petting on the other one, like he did it, like they telling each other. So I definitely do still believe that they understand just a tad bit.
They do understand. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to. Convey the message that they don't understand. But the reason, the thing about the spanking is sometimes what happens is like the dog had to go to the bathroom. The owner was off their schedule, right? And the dog really had to go to the bathroom. They didn't do anything wrong, but they just couldn't hold it anymore, and
That's
so they
good.
went to the bathroom in the house. And the owner comes home from work. They're upset because they had a long day at work, and they're just mad and they're yelling. And the dog is like, well,
Makes
dude,
sense.
I had to I had to go. What did you
Yeah.
want me to do? Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, it's best to not use that approach with your pets,
Makes sense.
especially so that then you don't have to worry about you being stressed out and going over the top and things like that, because you can't. It's harder to explain to a dog than it is to explain to a child that, like, I overreacted. I was having a bad day. The
Mm.
dog is not going to get that if that later turns out to be the case.
Okay. Okay. One more question, and I want to talk about your YouTube channel. For a pet, does it matter h- how much food should you get a food? Can you overfeed the animal?
Absolutely, you can overfeed them. You should feed them. I recommend commercial dog and cat foods. Any of the big brands that you know and recognize are generally good options. And every bag of dog food, or can of cat food, or whatever commercial food that you get, it
Mm-hmm.
has feeding instructions on the label, and those are the instructions that you should use for feeding your
Okay.
pet. It is definitely possible to overfeed them. People will think, "Oh, I'll give Fluffy a slice of bacon," and they don't realize that that one slice of bacon is enough calories for Fluffy's entire
Mm-hmm.
next 2 days. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the reasons why then somebody's saying, "Oh, Fluffy's not eating." Well, Fluffy had a slice of bacon yesterday, and Fluffy's a 2-pound Chihuahua, so she's good
G is good.
for a week.
But no. So sorry, I told a slight story. So let's talk about that. Cause table food. How good is table food for an animal?
Yeah, I mean, my official stance is that they should only be eating their dog and their cat food.
Yes.
But I get it. It's hard. We had Easter yesterday. The dogs are like running around. They smell the turkey. They want to pee. So
Mm-hmm.
I think in health, one of the most important statements is
Mm-hmm.
that, all things in moderation.
Okay.
And so, yes, while my official stance as a veterinarian continues to be that they should only be eating their dog food, I do understand that life, you know, it's about all the gray areas in between.
Sorry. So maybe not the YouTube yet. One other question. So let's talk about the bones though, because sometimes you get the bones to the dog. Is it okay for the dog to have the bones? Because sometimes it could break, or somebody say it gets stuck in the throat and things of that sort. And I've seen a
Yeah.
dog demolish a bone within a couple seconds, and I was like, "Wait a minute, did it go down right? Did you chew it? Like, what was going on?"
The problem with bones specifically is that they can lodge in the intestines and put a hole through the intestine.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a fracture or puncture in the intestinal tract, it can actually end up with a really, or cause a really severe systemic bacterial infection
Mm-hmm.
that can require hospitalization for treatment. And so, and that's if you're lucky. It can also require surgery, for example, to repair it. And so I generally encourage people to stay away from bones when it comes to feeding their dogs.
Oh, okay, all right. So tell us about the YouTube, because you give us enough, just a little bit enough of what we need to at least get back on the right track. But you have a YouTube channel that can help us stay on the right track. How can we follow?
Oh yeah, Royal Veterinary. And so it's at Royal Veterinary on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yes. So I know the website is royalveterinary.net, right?
That's correct.
And then we can
You can,
find.
yep. And so if you have a specific question, you can request a consultation at royalveterinary.net. We've got
Mhm.
an online blog you can browse through and see if there are any articles that answer specific questions that you have. And
Mhm.
those articles are written by licensed veterinarians, and so the information is to be trusted.
Yes, the website is really, really nice. Definitely about that piece of asking whatever questions you have, talking to real vets. And again, whatever question it is, just checking it out. Also on Instagram, you can follow and learn some new things. The resources are really good. Of the articles, there was a free download for changing pet foods to give you some
Mm-hmm.
information on that. I paid attention. I was watching how to schedule appointments if need be, and it's really cool that they do come out to you, so you don't have to go anywhere. They can meet you in the comfort of your home because some people are still not too sure about coming out with everything that's going on.
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
What made you start the channel?
Just an opportunity to get more information out
Mhm.
there to people. I think it's something that is lacking, I think, in the
Mhm.
veterinary community. There isn't really easy access to veterinary information. And a
Mhm.
lot of times that's because like we're working, right? So if you're not taking your pet to the actual veterinarian, most people don't know a veterinarian that they can call up and ask questions. And so I think it's just nice to have a resource that people can go to and watch videos in their spare time, or hopefully if you're searching for some information, maybe you'll find a veterinarian who's online, answering a specific question. And if you guys have specific questions that you would like for me to answer in the future, please go ahead and leave a comment. You could leave a suggestion for a topic on royalveterinary.net, and we're happy to answer those questions in the future.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yes, it was definitely good. I also love the pictures that you had of the different animals. It was one where the dog was stealing the fish off the plate, and I'll never forget. My mom had made spaghetti, one of my favorite meals growing up, and I was so excited. I made my plate. I went out the kitchen for 1 second to tell her something, came back in. That cat was eating it. I didn't even want spaghetti no more. Um, you have to be careful because these pets are slick. They be trying to get in
Yes,
there.
yes, indeed.
They was like, "She gonna leave? She gonna leave?" Yeah, I
They
got
are very intelligent.
it.
Very intelligent.
So not nice sometimes. So how can what is something that we should walk away with about knowing about pets to best support them and to best help our sanity and making sure that we're doing a great job being that fur parent, fur baby mom, fur parent, yeah, fur parent.
Yeah, so I think that everything that's important for your own health tends to be also important for your pet's health. And so if we actually have a saying in the medical community, and it's about One Health, there's a whole One Health initiative. And so you should just think, unless you have evidence otherwise, that the things that are required for your own health are also necessary for your pet's health. So with the diet, proper exercise, regular visits with the veterinarian, are all things that are going to be critical for your pet. And if you give your pet the love and the energy, they will give that back to you 10 times over. Help to
That's
increase your own health and well being.
yes, yes, definitely that loving. Because pets they don't necessarily ask those questions as the quote said, or offer any criticism, but they do still want love and attention in whatever way it is. So like even though Cleo, she's really antisocial, there's sometimes that she just wants to meow and I have to entertain it. Oh yeah, that's what happened today. And then what you do?
Hmm.
What? They was knocking on the
Yeah,
door, just making up stuff like baby
that's
talk.
the exact same thing I do.
And it just makes her day. When she's done talking, she'll walk away and be like, "Oh, some great." And then don't let her think that I'm awake and stuff. So, yeah, Cleo, it's still time to be
Yeah,
sleeping right now, sunshine.
yeah.
But yes,
Yeah,
they.
my boys, when I'm away for a few days,
Mhm.
they don't let me hear the end of it. They like, first of all,
Yes,
you were supposed to be home last night at 9 o'clock.
yes. They keep tabs on you because somehow they know. And then
They
with us working from
absolutely do.
home, you're here all day. So at first she was like, "All right, what you doing being here all the time?" Now she's used to it. So if I go out for too many hours and I come back, she's like, Like, where you at? Like, telling me off. You are not my mother, Cleo.
Right,
Calm down.
right.
You had food. Your litter was clean. You're good to go. And you had water. And now you're about to get a nice water fountain from Dr. King telling me I need to get one. So
Yeah, hopefully you can find one on Amazon for about $20. So.
I'm going to go find me one. So again, y'all be sure to follow Dr. King. She's doing some amazing things. So you were the founder of Royal Veterinary?
Yes, ma'am.
What made you start that? Like, why did you like go with somebody else's practice, but then said, no, I want to step out on my own?
No, I think building businesses is critical to wealth.
Absolutely.
And I think that wealth is critical to building our communities. And just, I've always wanted to build as much in the community as I possibly could. And so I established Royal with a vision of being able to hire 50 employees over the next 5 years. And so that's the goal, just to give opportunities for more people in the community.
I love it. She said 50 employees. So if you know somebody, see, let me tell you about our community. Sometimes you share some things. They're like, no, I don't need to know that about pets. We do, because again, we get these pets and we forget that they need a little bit more. There's a vet for a reason. There's a mechanic for a reason. Something's going to happen to that cost. Something's going to happen to your pet. We want to make sure we get with the right people to work it out. So if you know somebody that's interested in pets, I do have a friend. She said, are you taking interns, things of that sort, because she's interested in working at the zoo. She did an internship at the zoo, had an amazing time. So I'll definitely, direct her to your page and things to find out more about if that really is a life that she wants to continue to do. So this is really amazing.
Yep. And so if you have, I think you have my contact information,
yes.
right?
Yes.
We need to encourage, I think, young people who are interested in specific areas to reach out to people who are in these fields directly and start learning how to develop those communication and networking skills, because that's one of the most important things. So for that young lady who's interested in the internship, I would encourage you to share my contact with information with her and have her reach out to me directly. I get it that if she's 15, she doesn't necessarily know how to put together, the greatest email, but I want her to at least start learning, those little skill sets, because that turned out to be the most important, right?
Absolutely.
You found me by networking, right?
Yes. I'm always getting my ear like, what? She do what? Yeah, we need her, because again, this is important. And again, chosen friends, y'all share this with somebody. I'm going to tell somebody about it. It's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day. They was like, oh yeah, they're going to be talking about, wait, that's your show, right? We're going to be talking about a lot of different things that we need to know about. And this is very important. I've seen too many stories on Facebook. Facebook has been getting us, where you see the dog that was abandoned and the dog gets some love and it comes together. We abandon animals, and we could really be taking care of them by connecting them with the vet to help ensure that they are living the best life that they can, just like we are. Just stay away from Google and WebMD and we'll live a little longer. Oh goodness, this is really, really good. I do thank you so much. I thank you for
thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm definitely going to continue to follow on YouTube. I feel like I subscribed. If not, I will make sure that I do that, because I did again watch some videos as well. Just to know the information, because I'm always trying to learn, and it's great for conversation. I'm like, did you know that this could happen? They're like, what? Yeah, I didn't know either. We found it out today. So that's what it's about. Learning and sharing that with somebody else to help them to be empowered to go forward. And I also like the piece that you shared about starting your business, because last month our theme was why not. So why not do those things that you want to do? And that was a dream of yours, and you pursued that. And that's amazing to have the business and then have that goal of how many people you want to hire and things of that sort, to continue that wealth train for other people and to let them know too that they too can make it.
Absolutely.
Lisa said, I work with youth and I have a difficult time finding volunteer work because they have to be 16. Can I reach out?
Yes, you can. You have to be 16. Oh, I see. The youth have a difficult time finding places. Yes, you can reach out, and we can talk about some other alternatives, because maybe they're trying to get them into a veterinary hospital. Mm-hmm. And they do have to be 16 to work in a veterinary hospital, but there may be some other alternatives for them.
Awesome.
So absolutely, please reach out.
That's it. Again, if y'all know somebody that need to connect them. Because again, we know by opening up our mouths. A closed mouth don't get fed. You need some help, you open it up and you find out, oh, you can help me? Cool. So yes, at least I'll make sure you have that information. I'll make sure that the other young lady has the information. Y'all be sure to follow Dr. Catrina King on Instagram. She is the Royal Veterinarian, as well as her website at royalveterinary.net. So yes, you're going to see some amazing articles, some amazing videos and things of that sort. And again, you can always click the link to Ask a Vet to ask her any questions that you may have, and she will be happy to support you, and her team will be happy to support and assist you with that as well. And Lisa said thanks. Cool.
No problem, Lisa. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So awesome. That was really cool. Did you tell us what our word of the day was? Our keyword?
Did I tell? I didn't say it. I didn't say what the word of the day was. Did you say?
I don't know if we said. The keyword of the day is
cat.
All right. So cool. So I might need to remember that in a couple seconds. We'll see. But again, thank you so very much, Dr. King. Such a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to shoot you some questions that I may have because my Queen Cleo, sometimes she be trying to give me a run for my money because this girl just wants me to clean up after her. She don't run anything. And then wants me to talk when she's ready to talk. She's just special, but we'll take it. I'm grateful to have been able to bring her in as well, because with her being antisocial, I was like, I wonder if she would have made it, longer and things of that sort. Because sometimes if a cat or a dog is not as I got her from I adopted her and things of that sort. So if they're not up to par and things of that sort, they say maybe we have to take this animal down and things of that sort. So being able to extend life for an animal. So be sure to adopt. Go see your local shelters and things of that sort. One of my friends said, you don't buy, you adopt. So try to adopt a pet. There are a gazillion out there that needs a loving home, and they'll bring you so much joy. I talk about Cleo, but I like having her around.
They never forget. And you know what? Cats choose their owner. So it's something Cleo likes about you.
Yeah. Because when I went to get her, she got in my arm. She let me pet her and everything. She got here, was like, yep, And then I even had some friends come over. I was like, I can't find her. I think she's dead. I don't know what happened. We found her. She was just hiding out because, again, she was quiet the first couple of months. Then somehow she got wrapped up in a blanket one time. I said, baby girl, if I would have put that in the thing to take that out to the thing, you would have been gone. But she was just quiet. And she's finding her different ways. And she's warming up. She'll come in and sit with me sometimes. And other times she'll want to be bothered. But we like that too. So we got a lot of pets to be true to who they are as well. So yeah. I'm learning. I've been reading some articles as well. So thank you so much again for coming, Dr. King. May you have a great evening. Chosen friends, be sure to follow her and support her because she's doing something amazing. If you know somebody that needs a job, she's trying to help out the community. So that's what we're all about here as well. So be sure to hit her up and things of that sort. If you're into animals and things, also you can find out if that's your speed. Now don't waste your time. But go there if that's something that you really, really want to do, or somebody that's really interested, so they can see, how they can support our furry friends that help us to, have fulfilled lives as well. Awesome. Thank you again so much, and you have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Oh, that was so awesome. As you see, we had Dr. Catrina King for Ask a Vet. That was really good. I learned a lot tonight. Did y'all learn some things? I thank you so much for hanging out with me. I think we talked about this, but let's say it again. Bam. We have our Day of Empowerment coming up, and guess what? I took my time on this, so check this out.
Get ready. Chosen Counselors presents a Day of Empowerment. Join us on Saturday, May 15th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. virtually as we will inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen all attendees. Topics include self-care, parenting, healing, singleness, business, dating, married life, burnout, and more. Special guests include Christian Mills, Todd Davis, Sherry Thompson, Marquise Coates, Tiffany Wilson, Bob Fleming, Sierra Brown, Maurice Williams, and Dr. Ulysses and Shanika Pratt. Planning to attend? Visit eventbrite.com, search Chosen Counselors, and select the link to purchase your tickets today. So join us on Saturday, May 15th for a day of empowerment. Be sure to mark your calendars and tell a friend, as this day of empowerment is brought to you by Chosen Counselors.
It's going to be good, so make sure your face is in the place virtually on May 15th. I also shared what the keyword was. If you know it, drop it in the comments. Don't forget our quote of the day. Animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions. They pass no criticisms. Ah, very good. Be sure to join us next week as we will have Dr. Charles Farmer talking about Your Health Matters. Please tell a friend. He's going to break it down. He is a doctor in the ER. It's going to be good. He's going to share some nuggets of wisdom with us. Let's see. Okay. All right, Dr. Cindy, you have the ticket. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, I thank you all so much for tuning in today. I thank you all for tuning in every day, watching, sharing. I truly, truly appreciate it. That's my heart good to know that we're doing something to help build up the community. Hope you enjoyed what was shared tonight. Hope you know something new about how to support your cat, your dog, your fish. If a dog or cat is not for you, be sure to get that fish, okay? Get a fish. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, but I have faith in you. But also, if you don't know, be sure to call a vet. They can help you out. So thank you so much. I love you all for real. Till next time.